This is Robert Kraft, and I'm your host on SNN.Network. And joining me right now is Wayne Arthur. He is the managing director of Skyfii. It's a publicly traded company. The symbol is SKF on the ASX. Wayne, thank you for joining me today. How you doing?
Hey, Bobby, I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Can't complain. Can't complain. We got the holiday tomorrow, so just getting through it.
Good times. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Good time. All right. So this is your first time on here. You did present at our event back in August, but this is our first time doing a video interview together one-on-one. So I'd love to start off with a quick overview and history of the company, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So I'm one of the founders of the business. Started the company in 2012 in Sydney, in Australia. My original background prior to that was a lot of commercial and sales roles in various media type agencies and outdoor media contractors. Prior to Skyfii, I owned an outdoor media company which we sold, and then my partner and I moved into developing this business, which originally was going to be a more of an ad-funded Wi-Fi business, in fact. And then we very quickly realized that the opportunity lay in data and data aggregation, and that's the direction that we've taken today. So we're a pure SaaS business focusing on data aggregation, data visualization, and data services.
All right. So, look, SaaS is being talked about all the time in the FinTwit communities, just everywhere. A lot of companies are trying to capitalize on this type of business model. So what would you say makes Skyfii unique and different compared to some of the other SaaS companies out there?
Well, I think what makes us different is we've got a fairly modular product. So, we do, and our roadmap is obviously longer than both of our arms put together. So we're constantly evolving the feature set to suit the market. So the product is always amplifying. So we're a fairly responsive team. To give an example, we've built out some specific COVID-based features and applications to deal with, I guess, the world that we live in today. And that was something we turned around, within a month, during the month of March. So evidence of the fact that we as a company are fairly responsive and fairly nimble in our approach to providing solutions in this space. The other thing is the problem that we're solving mainly for customers is we're helping them to visualize and aggregate location technologies under one platform. There's a lot of disparate technologies out there at the moment that can provide video analytics, Wi-Fi analytics, beacon-based analytics, proximity marketing solutions, et cetera, but they're all quite siloed. So it can be a difficult decision for a company to make in terms of its strategy, in terms of who to work with, and what fits well together. Whereas our solution plugs into all of those different technologies in the one place. So we reduce the kind of friction between platforms for the customer. It's single throat to choke type mentality for them and us. And ultimately we also stitch the data together to get the best value out of all of the parts rather than the individual components.
Very good. So who would you say is your target customer base for your product set?
So it's really any public venue. So it is fairly broad. So that encompasses, I guess the common ones that we've worked with to this point have been airports, shopping centers, stadiums, universities. We do a lot with outdoor smart city deployments, beaches and precincts like that. We've done a fair bit in places like grocery recently. We did a lot of work in corporate office spaces as well. So really anywhere that there's a public gathering or a flow of people is where our solution's best suited, because we're providing visibility on real-time metrics around where people are. In the current climate, a lot of focus around occupancy monitoring and social distancing management and contact tracing. These are all things that we can provide solutions for.
So at the outset, you answered one of my upcoming questions about your background, but to take it a step further, I mean, what about this industry in this space? Because you said you kind of were working in it a little bit before even starting Skyfii. So what about the space attracted you to it and wanted you to just keep going, start another business very similar?
Well, it was actually an evolution, as you say. We were in the business of selling outdoor media before starting this company, but when we launched Skyfii originally, we saw an opportunity to use Wi-Fi back in the day, and we're very, very different now, but to use Wi-Fi as a content delivery channel. And what we realized fairly quickly in that journey initially is we didn't really know a lot about the audience that was in these environments consuming content through the Wi-Fi. We couldn't tell our brand partners, how many females they were, or how many, what age segment they were, or what postcode they come from. And these are all the things that questions were asked of us that we couldn't provide answers for. So we realized that there was a bigger opportunity in understanding the audience. And so we pivoted, almost immediately into becoming a data, a data platform essentially. And we built out proprietary technology, which now tracks and analyzes audience movements in these spaces rather than an advertising channel, which is where we started. So very much it was an evolution. We also, through that process, we're able to kind of pivot our business model from more of a content delivery business model to a SaaS product model, which is obviously where we are today.
Got it. So is the model really, look, we provide the Wi-Fi at margin or small margins, whatever it is, we don't care. It's all about the recurring, which is providing the data and that data management the solution for them. Is that the model?
Yeah, it's so we don't actually provide Wi-Fi. In fact,
you don't anymore. Okay.
One of the things that one of our Achilles heels, if I can be honest today, is probably or possibly our name, because it suggests that we are kind of a Wi-Fi business, and we're really a lot more than that. We don't provide the infrastructure. We work with partners, or in most cases, actually, we work with existing infrastructure that's already in the buildings. We're a software layer that does the data collection, aggregation, and visualization, as you say. So it is pure SaaS. We're kind of the glue that sort of sources and surfaces the data that comes out of these networks. And I'm talking about every person that walks into a Westfield shopping center, for example, that has Wi-Fi turned on their mobile device, for example, we can detect where that device is located. We don't know anything about them. They're completely anonymous. There's no privacy concern whatsoever. This is an anonymous device ID, but it does allow us to provide operational insights around where people are moving, what retailers they're visiting, how long they're spending. Importantly, these days, have these retailers reached their occupancy limits or not? So that's the data visualization piece, and the model there is pure SaaS. It's a monthly fee that the venue would pay us for that. And then we have a marketing platform which is attached to the product, which they can subscribe to separately, that allows them to deliver alerts or messages or content to people in those spaces. So again, in the current climate, a lot of the use cases are focused around occupancy, right? So if we can see that a particular venue is about to reach an occupancy threshold that they've set of, let's say, 80 people in the venue, which is a common number, we can trigger an alert to a store manager to go down and actually form a queue and allow people to start queuing up, rather than making people feel unsafe in that environment.
All right, so just one last question on the model and working with Wi-Fi partners. Just playing devil's advocate here. I'm just curious, like, what's stopping the Wi-Fi providers from coming up with creating a vertical solution like with what you guys are doing, or what's stopping them, or is the moat too wide?
Yeah, look, I guess the moat is quite simply, it's taken tens of millions of dollars and several years to build the technology that can effectively harness this data, capture it, stitch the X and Y coordinates together to form a pattern. So it's really that. I mean, it's not insurmountable by any means, but we've had a various telco partners we work with. For example, out here we work with AT&T, and we work with Optus in Australia, and we work with other managed service providers around the world. These would have been the ones that should have done this or could have done this, and they haven't, right? They've chosen to stick to what they do and work with platforms such as ours. And we've obviously now, I guess we're coming up to sort of 10 years in business almost, or 9 anyway. We've got such a degree of credibility now, and the value of the data and the patterns that we've developed over that period are now becoming more of the moat than probably the investment and the time.
All right. So with that, Wayne, from what you can tell us, we're pretty much at the end here of 2020. So what would you say are some of the company's value catalysts now for 2021? I'm assuming number one probably is a vaccine, so that more people are starting to go places so you can collect the data, but I'll let you explain that.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, to be honest with you, we've been fortunate in this period that technologies like ours have become even more relevant. Even though there's lower traffic in some of these venues, the venues need to know that, right? And they need to have control over those environments. So we're seeing a lot of uptick from verticals like grocery and verticals like education that weren't as big focuses for us, who need solutions to make sure that people that are visiting these spaces feel safe, right? We are monitoring occupancy, we are monitoring social distancing, we are facilitating contact tracing. So that will expire, we hope, soon. I'm all for vaccine as soon as possible so we can get back to normal. And then for us, we're kind of back to the core, which is we are aggregating data together to help provide efficiency in business operations. So we're going to see a lot more focus from us in workspace automation, for example, access control in buildings, being able to help businesses manage utilities like heating, ventilation, and air conditioning better using the location data we gather. So to us, that's the focus, and that's going to be the driver into 2021.
Perfect. All right. Well, with that, Wayne, where can my audience go and find everything they need to know to follow along the Skyfii story?
So our website is www.skyfii.com or www.skyfii.io for the techies. But ultimately, there's all the company information. There's an investor page there that investors can follow, and all of our announcements are posted there in real time.
Very good. Wayne, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Good luck. Stay safe. And I look forward to our next update.
Oh, Bobby, thank you. Thanks very much. Take care.